Hello and welcome to the stream. Thanks for the raid, Phasian. Tonight we're returning back to Factorio for production scrap. I know I said it a while back, but this might actually really be the penultimate episode. Really, we're just down to last bit of upgrading and moduling. So, started on that. We're going to get continuing on that. I did let the game run a little bit just to kind of build up some of our modules. Have almost 200 productivity 3. That's pretty good. And good speeds. We really need um like 3 to 1. Generally speaking, a couple things don't, but so we're gonna run out of productivities before we run out of speeds, most likely. We can get started on those. Last time we did a few of the green circuits, so those talked about it. We need last time we need 9 of these arrays. Plan in here. 36 and 40, say 42, 49 will be 3. That'll be a little bit more. Because 9 would be 36 and 54. So, okay, so the bots are coming at it. 4 of these done. 7, 8. Should make all 4 output belts completely full. It'll actually be a bit more than 4 output belts because of that difference here between well, no, actually, it'd be just about right because there'd be 36 of these. We'll just be overproducing the copper cables a little bit. So we'll be just over 4 full belts. That'll be pretty good. They're bringing the modules now, so I really like that mod once I get it figured out every time. You weren't here last time. We set up module inserters so that for Summing Machines 3, it inserts modules in this configuration normally, and then we can switch it to this configuration for the things that can't take productivity modules, such as other modules. Basically anything that's not on this tab, generally. So now we have no more productivity left. Hey, well, that didn't take long. So in the meantime, find a way to boost that productivity. Big problem is, of course, circuit throughput. I did finish the science we had queued up while I was letting it run. So I'm going to let it sit, though, so that all the green circuits can make it past science and make it into the circuits here, as well as blue circuits. Have such a demand right now for everything. I think I'll even cut off the blue circuits from the science, from the rocket rather, so they all go, so we can maximize this production. In the meantime, we can look at the ratios for science and start trimming down the machines and let the base bots, disable our onboard bots here, trim these down to the size that they need to be for moduled. We don't need to do anything here because we already have. Although it's not in here, so we should probably put it in. Have 4 of those. We have 20 beacons. With modules in it. I believe that's the way that this works in HelpMod. So I can verify it against Kirk McDonald. May not be right. It doesn't really matter because in the end what matters most is... Wait, no? I'm not sure. I haven't spent a whole lot of time with Helmod and modules. But I think... Wait, we don't want to produce... There's half the problem. We don't want to produce 0.15. We want to produce 0.25. That's what it is. Okay, that's the number now matches Kirk McDonald. 1.79. That's good. So the difference here is we want 2.5 science per second. But there's 100 of these that go into the making of the rocket, and the rocket's worth 1,000. So you multiply it by 1,000 divided by 100, and you get backwards. Multiply by 100 divided by 1,000, and you get 0.25. Have filled up the science belt anyway with the space science, so we don't need any more of this stuff. Okay, so let's look at the ratios for this now, which is what we were doing before we get distracted a little bit. So oh wow, this is a little out of date. Change the factories over to the assembling machines 3. Then we need to add the modules in. One speed. Oh, and these can only take... Oh, this is the speed module. So these can take 4 speed modules. 1 speed and 3 productivity modules for the rocket control units. So we need 6 of these. Yeah, we can do it. We need 6 of these and 32 of these. So that's quite a difference. Quite a difference. What's the input quantity look like? Half a red belt total. Wow. Okay. Less than half a red belt total. So 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is right here. Belt here. Might as well insert those modules because just speed modules. Let's bring those in. Then we needed 32 of these. We have them in 4 rows. Seven, 8. And it's going to put a whole bunch of speed 1 modules into network. Really don't want to waste. See if we can find a way to inject them into the speed array here. And we can pretty easily. Do a requester there. Request a few of these. I don't want a bunch coming into either one of these. Let's just do 10. That's going to bring more than 10 to this one, but that's okay. Power pole here. That there. Take this, put it around, put it there. Base spots, bring those speed 1 modules in. And that'll at least compete with these in supplying the speed 2 modules. So it won't be priority by any means, but it'll be close. Okay. Activities. We only need 21 of these. That's just about 1 red belt of copper, just under. And then... Wait a minute. Oh, this was half a yellow belt of each. Better. So really, we could have probably simplified this even more by just having this be one-sided. It's okay the way that it is. It's not going to hurt. Then rocket control units, yeah, they take very little blue circuits. We're not bringing any in right now anyway. Then low density structures, red belt of copper, yellow belt of copper, then a half of a yellow belt of each at most. So this is fine. So 21, make it 22 because we want even sides here. 11. Right here, cut this off. That makes 22. And the final piece toward the rocket is the rocket fuel. That yellow. Same modules. We need 32 of those machines. They're going to take in a yellow belt of solid fuel. We have twice as much solid fuel as we need here, but that's okay. I already forgot the number, 32. That's right here. Solid fuel going back into the happens. There. Power, he shouldn't be. Oh, I put this one tile off. No longer good here. There. Okay. Now we need to trim this. I want to make sure I have solid fuel recycling set up. I don't know that I do. Okay, now way over there. Here, I have it providing. We have it buffering for. Oh, for Okay, good. It's just going to the buffer chest. That's fine then. We had it buffering for the train fuel, so we can just leave that alone. Rocket fuel, though. Pick up some rocket fuel. Should get pulled into the rocket, or not the rocket. Yeah, I should just substitute in for this here. Get added in instead of. Same with the low density structures we picked up. The thing that's not getting used otherwise is the rocket control units that we picked up. So take care of those. How many get picked up? 64. Not too bad. So that should pick them all up, drop them all in there, and let them go into the rocket anyway. Could have put it over there where it's closer, I guess. Or just put it directly into the rocket. That'd have been the even better part. Okay. They're all on their way. Oh, there might be 60 something left after we just transferred those 100. That's okay. It won't take long. Still bringing them in. Okay. Let that go. Forget about it later. So we're shunting as many blue circuits as we can. I thought about this while I was running this earlier, and I think I might just do it. Siphoning off the circuits from here, feeding them back into here. Wonderful. Hi, welcome. With a rating party of 10, that's great. Welcome, everyone. We are playing the mod Factorio Production Scrap, or the Factorio mod Production Scrap. It adds in a bunch of scrap recycling. I appreciate all of the new the new viewers. So it adds in a bunch of scraps. Everything produces scrap, from the smelting of iron plates, which produce a 6% chance of a scrap plate, to a all the way up to the end. Even producing. I guess I've showed it there already. Rocket control units produce 1.2 or 120% chance of circuit scrap. So all that scrap from the mall. Over several episodes, we retrofit the mall and have these scrap lanes between each set of machines that output everything onto a scrap bus. Scrap bus runs back here and into this loop where the plates are resmelted into hopefully real plates, but they again have the same percent chance of producing scrap. So then that needs to get siphoned off here like this and put back in and brought back around again. So we're dealing with steel here, copper here. This is iron. We have another one for copper if it overflows because of all the smelting being done with copper for green circuits. And then everything else is recycled in chemical plants. It does both. So I guess every craft generates scrap, whether that's copper scrap, iron scrap, etc., or things like inserter scrap and circuit scrap. The inserter scrap, everything but the first three. When you break them down in the chemical plants, then they produce lesser scrap components. So breaking down belt scrap produces iron scrap. Breaking down inserter scrap produces iron scrap and circuit scrap. Well, breaking down circuit scrap produces iron scrap and copper scrap. So you end up having kind of this kind of hierarchy, and you also end up having a circular action going on, which is why I have it set up here as a circle. So the other thing is you're using water and sulfuric acid to do this. So you need to and then you're producing this wastewater. So you need to deal with the wastewater, and we're dealing with that here in these two arrays here. The wastewater is filtered, I guess, is the lack of a better word here, is filtered. And then it produces this generic scrap, which looks like this. Kind of looks like a low density structure, only it's scrap. And then it also outputs some water and sulfuric acid back into the system. That generic scrap can be used to make a few different things, such as giant chests, landfill, and solid fuel, as well as a different grenade that isn't compatible with the ones we're using to make science. You have to be careful. And landmines. Since I'm playing without biters, I'm not bothering to use either of these. And the scrap chests aren't that great. They add a few extra storage slots, but they're 2x2, so they're not that great. And I don't have any water on my island. I just use a deep water well mod, a stone water well mod to provide my water, because the mechanic of running pipes for water or whatever just doesn't thrill me. So we're making solid fuel out of this exclusively, and then that's just getting sent back onto the bus to be used as solid fuel for science and the rocket fuel. So because especially green circuit, there's so much circuit scrap because of all the green circuits. Green circuits produce 6% chance. Red circuits have a 12% chance. Blue circuits have a 72% chance. So for every blue circuit, you have not only 172% chance, but then you also have 2 times 12 and 20 times 6% chance of circuit scrap. So you produce probably at least few circuits, scrap circuits, with every blue circuit you make cumulatively. And so there's so many here that I'm going to end up processing a huge amount here, and it produces 2 full belts when running fully, 2 full red belts of copper and iron scrap combined, So I end up having to set up completely additional separate smelting arrays here just to deal with the iron and copper scrap, mainly from circuit scrap. So it's just um, a huge kind of additional step to deal with as you're dealing with building a bus. So the other thing we're working on is upgrading to a kind of a par level of science that I wanted to get to, and that level is 2.5 per second. So it's pretty meager. It's not anywhere huge, but I wanted to do it with modules. So we're working on right now upgrading, making sure all the machines are assembler 3s, and we're doing some module insertion. But of course, modules are slow to make, although we do have a few saved up, so that's good. But even like modules here, this module array has scrap coming out of it, module scrap. So it's all completely done. Everything, every array is specially made. I couldn't really use any blueprints straight up. I mean, I did use some, modify them and whatnot, but I had to build. I had to build every array kind of custom, or at least heavily customized a blueprint in order to be able to use it. And so that's what I was saying earlier. Is we spent parts of several episodes retrofitting an existing mall that I was using to handle outputting scrap, because obviously a mall normally can't do that. So I had to add these extra lanes in every time. Oh yeah, Wandable. Yeah, I've been playing for a little over 2 years, and I played basically vanilla for about a year, a little less than a year, before I really started using mods. And I've only played like a couple of these heavier mods. I guess this would be a mid range mod. This is definitely not a heavy mod. This isn't C block or Pyanodons or anything, but it's kind of a mid range mod. And I've done a few of these. I mostly do QOL stuff when I play. I don't really play vanilla anymore, just because I I find some of the stuff a little bit tedious, like building arrays. I like to have nanobots, and until I get regular bots, and then I haven't used the nanobots in several episodes now. This mod that I'm using here, module inserter, is really nice. It allows you to say, okay, I want this type of assembly machine to have this set of modules in it. Then you use this little tool here, and you say, go for it, and the bots will go and grab the modules. I missed two on the... You can have different configurations here, so you can switch back and forth easily enough. Missed these two for speed modules. And I've already used up all the productivity modules again. We're just not producing enough blue circuits. So I was just talking as you guys were joining that I wanted to siphon off the blue circuits from here. I think I'll rebalance here. I will balance, not rebalance, because they weren't balanced to begin with. Then I'm going to shunt them over. Drop them off right here. And merge them. Oh, I want to use a red splitter there. And steal the modules from yellow science, because we're not doing any science right now. And run them into the base. When I build my science arrays, I try and do them with blue science with dedicated red circuits, and yellow science with dedicated blue circuits. That way they just have their own focused array instead of stealing from the bus. Alrighty, well, I appreciate you guys coming by. A rate of 10 is nice to have. If you guys like what you see, and you're willing to, please follow. I stream regularly 3 days a week, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at this time, and then I'll oftentimes do one or two at least bonus streams. Sometimes at the same time in the evenings, sometimes during the day on the weekends. I'm just going to go ahead and give the bots instructions. Did I leave it on? Yes. Give the bots instructions to go ahead and fill in these as well once they have the modules made. Once I have the modules made. We are now full. Actually, I'm going to steal. Oh, we already spent all of our blue. Spent them all already. Yeah, I actually thought about that too, and even with oh well, even with I mean the few green and red circuits that are used here, I don't see the point in building separate arrays for even the red circuits there. And the red circuits for the blue circuits for here, I don't. But I did come up with this. Um, this is of course a custom design for this mod pack. But I did come up with this array for um, red circuits that this produces one full belt of whichever color belt you're using. So if all of your input belts are red, then it'll produce one red belt out. It's unmoduled. I think it needs 4 sets. Module, or maybe it's 5. I can't remember now. And moduled, it needs 3. We have it half moduled, so I did 2 and 2. So it must be 5 or even 6 sets. I can't remember. Still have it here. I've moduled it already. Excuse me. I'm coming out of a head cold, so forgive me for clearing my throat and whatnot. Stream. Try to save you all from the worst of it. All right, so we're just gonna let them do that. I'm gonna head over and I also remembered that we don't actually need this many. We only need 2 each of these, I think, for the. But I guess we don't need to destroy them. It doesn't hurt. They're not doing anything. This we can take out. We had this here temporarily to clean our inventory or our storage up as we were deconstructing. So I'm going to just continue moduling up everything. That way everything gets kind of produced. I wanted to look though, are we doing okay here with module making? I should add, because we're using so many productivity modules, I should add one more array here of productivity. Goes like this. Yep, like that. That in. That's right. Otherwise, let me grab the top part of this one. This one's a little bit different because it's the end cap. I just want to line it up and make sure that it looks about the same. Yep, just that. Oh, I need to patch that in here. I need undergrounds here, here, to allow the red and green circuits through. But otherwise, it looks like that was correct. Another turbo port as well. Yeah, that's correct otherwise. Everything else is mismatched, makes sense to be mismatched. My all of my inserters here are just limited by the logistics network so that I don't have to worry about what's in each box as it fills up. Okay, so we'll work on, we did yellow and purple sciences during the last stream. Let's do blue and gray now. We look at blue and gray. We're targeting 2.5. I'm not going to worry about moduling the pipes and gears. They're just not worth it. I'm going to module everything else. Because, I mean, I guess we could, you know what, let's put one speed module in the pipes. No, because I'm not going to destroy the one we have. We'll just leave it alone. We have 2 in water already. We'll just leave it alone. So we need 18 blue science machines. How many we have? 24, yeah. So we need to take 6 of these off. I don't have like grandiose recycling by any means. I should probably upgrade that a little bit and get stuff back into the mix. Need say 12 engine machines. That's 20, so we need to take 8 of these off. Trim some belts here. Okay, and then if we back out, we have the red circuit array that's dedicated to blue science. Those end up with 11, so we'll call that 12 and 2. Have, I think, 3 and 18 right now. Yep. Take off 1 full block. This one right here. Okay, so that's kind of a simple task to do. And we can do the upgrading, or the module insertion. That, and like I said, I'm not going to bother with these because, I mean, they only use iron. Yes, they're going to use a little more iron than they would if I moduled them with productivity, but it's not worth it because once you get under one machine, it's not worth it anymore. And then Gray Science will do the same thing. And I think this gets a little easier too with the ammo. We won't bother modulating the basic ammo because it's not, again, not worth it. We're already under one machine here. I think we can module this. We could do that. We could actually change that to be a direct insertion then. If we wanted to go completely crazy. What did it look like before? 2.4. We could go crazy. Sometimes I like going crazy. I'm not going to go that far. We'll go 3 modules and we'll end up with 3 machines. And the walls I'm not going to bother with either. Because we can only speed those anyway. It's not worth it. Because these are all military products, you can't speed module things, generally speaking, that are outside of this tab. So, or you can't productivity module things, generally speaking, that are out of this tab. So we can only put speed modules in these anyway, and it's not worth it. So we need, I guess I should have looked at my counts here, 8 of these. Have 8, so you can only take away 2. But that's taking away 20%, which makes sense based on the modulating we have. Okay, and then we're going to go crazy and do 4 speed modules in one of these assemblers. And we could direct insert it. I guess it doesn't matter because it's already being done like this anyway. Grenades. 3 grenade machines. Power pole, though. So, like you can see, even things like ammunition produce scrap. So sometimes I'm handling it by using filter inserters. Sometimes I'm using filter splitters to handle it. It just really depends on, to some extent, what I felt like. And then other extent just as to how complicated it was. Take one of these out. Save. That'll be for these. In. For the other ammo, right? Yes. Alrighty, so as those are made, they'll be delivered, and I can see them getting delivered already over here. And the final 2 sciences. Wow. This is a little out of date. See if we can't productivity these, we can only speed them, and there's no point because we're less than 1 machine. So that's all we need to do for green science is module the actual science. That'll need 9 of those. Right here. And then one of each of these, and we already have that, so those are good. That was easy, and this is going to be even easier. We'll do 8 of these, and then this doesn't make any sense to do anything with. Off. Okay, so we need to set up some recycling here, because we have a lot of stuff that we just threw into this logistics system that has no other home. Power. So on this side we need red. Should have copied this or that we don't have to build it again. So priority input left. This in here. This will be, oh, we need power. One will be blue. Robots, I was standing on it. This one is purple. Do we have any? No, we don't have any space science in the. Look at what else we can recycle back into the system while we wait for those modules to get made. Oh, here's the chest that I made. As you can see, it's 2x2. It does have 60 slots, but it's 2x2, so it's not really that much of a savings. It would only be really helpful at the beginning of the game. Once you get to this part of the game, iron chests and steel chests even are almost free. With much of this, that'll get recycled eventually as the trains need it. Could deal with, I think. We're actually requesting them here. I think we're making them here. We're only making them for stuff that we're never going to use again. Maybe we can request them into science. And more capacity and more quantity. Over here. No. This is... Yeah, they're even more capacity here in blue science. Because that was looking at the bot array here, and we're not producing that many bots anymore, so that's not useful there. But right here would be a good spot to bring them in. Cluster. Circuits are being recycled. Belts have recycled themselves. Stone furnaces we can't do anything with. I do have a recycling machines mod, but most of the recipes have been gutted. See, because of the modified recipes that scrap recycling adds, this mod just can't understand them. So we can't break anything down that we would otherwise break down, like stone furnaces into stone and reuse the stone. Let's see, plastic, that could be recycled if it's not be. Recycled plastic. Demand for circuits. Wow. Yeah, that'll take a little while. We'll do this somewhere right around in here. Underground the steel. Full red. But from the right. Oh, L. Okay. Fine. Things are fine. It's all stuff that's in my mall, so I don't have to worry about it. We forgot to limit our beacons. No, the beacons went into scrap by accident. So we made a whole bunch of beacons before I realized it one day. Walls we could recycle. If we could fit the recycling in. We really can't. So I'm not going to worry about it. Ooh. We managed to get a little piece of stone. There. Nope, not M. L. Electric engines we can do the same thing with. We need to do that in purple science. Thing we did with it in blue science. We were providing them, though, so let me make sure we're not providing them anymore. We were providing them here someplace. Not purple science, yellow science. We are providing them. Okay, never mind. L. Rocket fuel's fine, because we use it for the satellite eventually. Pipes, small electric pole. For what we had refined concrete for. Might have been when we were... So we also added in a mod called Rocket Silo Construction that turns the rocket silo into not just a simple item that you pocket craft or handcraft. You actually have to build it and construct, excavate out the hole and a bunch of other things before you can launch a rocket. So it actually took a little bit of work, and I think it took some refined concrete. We have gears in. Maybe we need to recycle gears. And copper cable. That could be useful to recycle too. Grenades, but I'm not going to worry about them. Looking pretty clean. Down to 100 of an item or less. And a lot of it's mall-based items, so that should be fine. Yeah, there's just like a few iron sticks. I'm not going to worry about those few items. And I made too many of these when I made my Power Armor Mark II, so that's why those are there. Here you can see the one recycling machine I made before I realized that the mod totally destroyed that. I think we're okay. Now it's really just kind of a waiting game on how soon this stuff gets made. Still have a huge demand. At least we're able to process it all now. Suppose we could steal some of these. Might work. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Go back in there. Not what I wanted you to do either. Okay. If I put some of these in faster, I already used them all. Only the other modules, largely. And I don't know that I want to remember where they all were. So maybe that'll help at least boost this along. Kinda hope it wouldn't take quite as long to make these as it is. At our scrap recycling going. Yeah, since we're using so many circuits, so many modules, still basically constantly going. And as you can see, we're out of something. We're out of sulfuric acid. So I've never sat down and actually done the math on this, but there is some math involved somewhere that would tell me how much of this stuff we're actually losing. Because we are losing some volume someplace, because there's no wastewater to speak of. There's a bunch of water, but there's no sulfuric acid. There is a loss to this process somewhere. But fortunately, I have it connected up, so I can just refill it when I need to. I suppose if I put tanks in and pumps in, and I measure the tanks, and I said something about, hey, when the tank for the wastewater is fairly low and the tank for either of these is fairly low, fill it up to a certain value. Actually, we could probably do the math on that and figure that out. Wouldn't be too complicated. Figure out that circuit. Try that out. Let's put some tanks down. One there. I don't want to go too far, but I also don't want to jam all this in super close either. Move this out of there. Put it in. Gosh, that's the best place for it, though. We'll have to just run. I'll just have to run the sulfuric acid differently. We'll put a pump in here. I'm going to put it in backwards just so that I don't fill that up. Well, it's not powered, so it won't fill up. And let's run the sulfuric acid in a little bit squiggly. Oh. Nope, that's a bad spot. A bad spot anyway. We go over this way instead. The other pump in here. I might do it. So let's flip these around then. Before I run power here. That. I don't want it running at all. Well, let's take a pipe out. Here. Using the big one so that I can get it to where I want it. Signal wise. And then red wires. Thanks too. Fit here, you will fit there. Oops. There. Could put the other tank right in. So let's give this some thought. First, let's connect all the pipes up. I mean, let's connect all the wires up first to all the poles, all the pumps. Oh, we should have all three signals here. So when the wastewater is, say, below 5,000, need to not do the wires to the pumps just yet. I need to actually use some decider combinators. I think we're going to have to request. Yep. Yeah, you're going to bring me all 50, whether I turn it down or not. Off. So, if okay, so if the wastewater is less than 5,000, I'll put one green signal. And if this is the sulfuric acid pump, if that's less than 5,000, So that means that if both tanks, this one and the one down there, are under 25%, basically. Oops, I'll put another green signal. Wires. Pump. Then the pump's going to operate only when the green signals are greater than 2. So if we are low on wastewater, which means that not a bunch of the fluids are tied up in just waste processing, and we're low on sulfuric acid, then we need to refill the sulfuric acid a little bit in the system. I think that makes some logical sense. Let's grab that. Go in there. We'll... Oh, our bots are off. And now the base bots are going to do it. No, they're not. Back bots. Okay. Excuse me. Red wires again. There. There. And then we'll come out and into the pump. So once again, if we change this now to look at water. So like before, but now if the wastewater is less than 5,000 and the water is less than 5,000, so we've processed our waste products and we still are not doing very good on the water, then we want the pump to operate. The pump is off right now. We can't really see the signal, but it is off. It's not pumping. I don't see the animation. And this one is off right now as well. So I think that'll do what we want, because it'll stop us from filling up the input fluids just when this is falling behind for whatever reason. But it'll fill them up when this has all been caught up well. It doesn't really matter. Or wait, hold on. You're right. Haha, greater than 1 square. Or greater than equal to 2 squares. I thought you were talking about the other. Yep, you're good catch there. That would have never worked. I could have done equals too. So hopefully now this gets kind of caught up, and we're just processing again so many circuits that so much waste fluid is getting used or is getting produced that we actually may not be consuming enough of it. We may need a third one of these arrays. As you can see, the solid fuel portion of this array is not being quite used fully. Because really there should be like 3 of these rows, I think, in order for this thing to be perfectly balanced. But I didn't put the third one in because I like the symmetry. So we could add another one here. Why is that not producing why is it not producing as much? Oh, we have a problem here somewhere. Ah, there it is. This one can't get any fluid in. That's why. Okay. That should help the levels of the fluid a little bit. Fluid will go down. If not, we can always add a third one. No big deal. Must have had it there and deleted it for some reason, because there was the belt was there, or the straight pipe was there like it used to be there. The other idea would be to add pumps here to make sure these are full, but they're not ever being starved out, so it's fine. Bottleneck mod. I mean, you can see it by mousing over whether the machine's working or not, but seeing the whole array at once is more useful to me than having the mouse over. Okay, let's see where we at with modules. They are slowly ticking down. Slowly. We are using every single one of those red circuits to make modules. To the point where this, because of the speed I put into this, they're not even using this top array much, if at all. Any bit here. See, red circuits. It's crazy. Modules just gobble up red circuits. I think I need to change these caps now that we're just producing like crazy. This was as I was trying to store them. Let's just do a reasonable number of maybe like 150. A more reasonable number. Apparently I didn't copy the right one. Paste 150. Okay. Got paste 150s. 50s. Okay. And then this one I'm just going to do 50. Cut that in half. See, what else can we work on while we wait for... And I don't want to be doing science. I want to be launching a rocket at this point because I want everything to go into making modules. And now we have a backup. Well, we don't quite have a backup of blue circuits yet. Still using every single one we are making. Pretty amazing. We are just stealing the green circuits for the red circuits as well. We designed, I mean, it's a basic design, but we used the side loading of the belts kind of like you would do with a smelting array here to keep the green circuits and plastic balanced. So I basically just stole it right from here. Just changed the orientation a little bit to do that. Be producing just about a full red belt. And we didn't finish the moduling up here and didn't delete this last one, but it should be pretty close. What else can we look at while we wait? I think we can probably just go ahead and upgrade this whole bus to red belts. We'll let the base keep working, at least doing a little bit of work. We kind of waited. Let the base bots do it. Might as well use some of that iron from the base. Basically standing still right now. pretty much handle everything. How are we doing now on the waste fluid? Yeah, that helped a lot because it was at 10K when we turned that other half of that array on. We may need to turn science back on. I see that cell of fuel is backing up into here. So once this cell of fuel backs up here, that means that this stuff's going to start backing up and then not processing that wastewater anymore. So we may have to turn science back on and research something just to get it moving again briefly. Wow, man. 10 of these circuits produces a full red belt. I'm stuck here because of the priorities. But once this slows down a little, they'll be able to slide in. Yeah, we've gotten copper backed up here. Well, should still be using. It is. It's still flowing. It's just not using that much because all we're using it for is circuits. Since copper is used otherwise pretty heavily with low density structures, we're not using enough copper at this point. So yeah, we may need to turn science on. Let's do one research. We have a lot of space science, so we might be able to get away with it without using any blue circuits. Try it. We're at 7. Reducing worker robot speed and mining productivity. That's 10K and that's 8,000. Let's do this one. Valued at less. I don't know if that's 8,000 space science or not, but another thing I should do, since there's still science in this machine, I should take a wire, and we used all of our wires. Did I see red wires in this system? One. We have one. Okay, it must have been green wires. I want to read this belt and control this inserter with it. This is just read belt contents. Hold. If this is base science less than 4, there should be 4 on a side, 8 per belt, but 4 on a side. I think, right? Yeah. So when science is completely backed up, I don't want more science being made. It's kind of the idea here. And I think that'll work correctly. We'll see once this empties out pretty soon. Or I guess I could make it empty out faster. It'll empty out soon enough. I mean, I could say whenever it's 0, but I suppose I could tie that to a power pole too. See what that number is. I guess I got to tie it to this. Yep, it's 4. I could do this a little less crazy. Tied it to that one to there. Now I'm just wasting circuits. coming down pretty fast now because we sped up those productivity modules. I think we might actually call this map complete tonight, actually. I thought this might be the second to last, but we got a lot accomplished already. That's pretty good. But yeah, that was my target for this map, was to say producing this amount of science all in one uh, in this one base with this kind of module level and everything. Kind of a goal to have. Like I said, it's not really a high science base, but it's just kind of a target to hit, a threshold to hit. There's the last of it. See this light go green. It's not going to insert, but we should see it at least go green. Second here. 3, yeah, it just went green. Excellent. So if we were providing rocket control units here, which we're not, this would get turned on, or this would fill up, and then this would insert the satellite as described. I think the rocket can hold like 2 rockets worth, 2,000 total space science without it, but then once it hits that, it starts throwing it away. We definitely don't want that to happen. So something simple like that is good just to catch, to make sure that you aren't wasting anything. So this is actually a relatively small base. When I spawned this map, I did a little bit more dense, a little bit more frequent, a little bit larger ore patches, because I didn't want to spend a bunch of time driving around setting up miners and stuff like that. I wanted to focus on the mods, or the mod at first, and now it ended up being 2 mods. I didn't want to waste stream time driving around. So coupling that with, I set most of these, if not all of these mines up off camera, just to speed everything up. We only ended up using a small nuclear array. Kind of surprising. I thought I was going to have to at least double this, but we so far haven't. Producing so much uranium. Overx is just going crazy. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about too. Production scrap doesn't affect uranium processing at all, which I thought it would have been nice to have some effects here. I'm not sure what those effects would have been offhand, but it'd be nice to have some effects. The other thing that it doesn't affect at all is oil. The oil works exactly the same. The cracking works exactly the same. Solid fuel works exactly the same. This is all vanilla, and I would like to have seen the mod add in some component of waste with all of these refining components. It just seems like something that wouldn't be that much more to add in and make it really worthwhile. Oh, we never module inserted green and red science. Ooh. Took away too much belt here. Let's come and get it. Yes, we did do. Good. We need to add a few more labs here. consuming the full. Yeah, we're not consuming the full 2.5 per second. So let's add just run the labs up as far as we can get them. Add one more belt in here. Grab a couple of arrays like this. Fit one more. Could if I didn't have power poles in the way. Let's briefly cut you guys off. Trim this, so on. I'm going to replace these with just a belt. I don't like having uneven undergrounds. One of my things. And we'll put in some power poles. Yeah, that doesn't work. Zoom in like this. That should cover all the miners. Again, we are using a fair amount of coal right now for plastic. Make some labs. That's right. This mall doesn't have labs in it, so we need 3 times 8, 24 labs. Out of iron. I have belts and belts of iron here. 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. Throw those into my logistics trash, and they'll come and get it. Going on with greens. Oh, science is stealing green circuits, so modules aren't getting enough. Or aren't getting as much. That's the problem with turning on science, is that now we're stealing some greens, stealing some reds, and modules aren't producing nearly as fast. Stop soon, because they're going to run out of space science soon. Let's not make green circuits. I have a few we can borrow. Getting bots. Because I could have stolen some gears from someplace and had to handcraft all those gears, but that's actually what I could have done was request the ones that were in the network. Oh, we added more productivity needs because we added all the labs that take productivity modules. And we gotta remember we need enough for this as well, speed modules for this. Horrible, we just aren't getting enough red circuits now. Many are going into blues. That's really. And I'm glad I put that Purdy on there. That way, yellow science gets to keep its yellow science blue circuits. Oh, we have those. They're already here. Most of them. Is it 32 that I needed? Yeah. All right, good. We need a bunch more productivity. What else shall we talk about? Talk about what comes next. So I've looked at a few mod packs or mods, various mods for Factorio. Ideas. I really like the look of the new space exploration mod. The choice there is what to play it with. The mod maker recommends playing it with their own AAI industry mod to kind of expand it a little bit. And then there's another mod called Mining Space Industries that recommends you play it with space exploration. So you could actually play all three together. There's also another mod that's pretty popular right now called Factorio. I did experiment with that one a little bit in a multiplayer setting, and it does look pretty cool. But there's also a few of the older ones like the old SpaceX that I never have played, and there's the Ribbon Maze, which was popular back 6 months ago or so, a little bit. There's Darkstar, which did eventually get upgraded to 0.17, so that looks good. Of course, the older mods such as Yoki's and 5Dims, Factorio Plus, Omnimatter, mods such like that. There's a mod that I played on before I streamed called Basic C Block, which isn't the C Block that has been super popular for a few years now. This one is very vanilla. It actually only adds a couple of more machines and just a handful of recipes. And I did play it through to at least the rocket launch, and I liked it, and I'd like to come back to it for a stream. But I saw that there is a new scenario based on it called Oceanus. So I was looking at that as well. And there's another mod called Fantario, but it has a lot of recycling crap based stuff like this one does. So I'm less interested in that because we just did that. So, and then there's another one I think it's called Colonists. I wish Peps were here. He's the mod research expert. that kind of adds a little bit of a I don't know, maybe a city builder or a colonist management where you have to keep your colonists happy, kind of a mechanic, which kind of sounds cool. But I'm not sure uh, that I necessarily want to play that just yet. It's kind of got an anno feel or something like that, where you're kind of supplying them. And then there's one more that I can't remember the name of that I didn't write down. Um, Starts an S. It's got a um, basically like a syngistics, I think it's called. Yeah, syngistics. It's kind of like a completely logistics game where you have different assembler machines produce different items, and you have to feed different items into them in order to get them to produce those items, and then it kind of becomes like a whole logistics kind of trading game almost. So that was kind of interesting too. I'm not sure that one's that compelling for a stream. So I'm kind of heavily leaning towards space exploration, with or without AAI industry and or mining space industries. I will probably include again the rocket silo construction in that, just to kind of add another layer there. But I'm heavily leaning towards those just because those are kind of the big thing right now, and they're also very interesting to me. And make it quite a longer game than this. As you can see, this one has been 16 episodes, I think we're on right now so far. And I mean, that's a good place to kind of end this series. But I would like to get these last modules made. Um, Otherwise, also on my future list here is the um, is a tutorial series on ratio calculation, or probably not a series. I don't know. I don't know how many episodes it'll actually be, how many stream episodes it'll be. But I wanted to kind of start with the basics, calculating a simple production ratio, or like when you're calculating like how many machines it takes to make a thing, whether that's science or even just gears. Like, okay, I want to make a full yellow belt of gears. How do I calculate that? How do I calculate how many machines, how much iron input I need? Start with something simple like that and actually do it on a calculator. Start with the basics, the real basics, then move my way into, setting up a spreadsheet to do it. And then maybe the spreadsheet could even be a little bit smart and handle multiple inputs, uh multiple inputs. And then going from there into some of the pre-built calculators, because I think it's important for people to understand what it takes to create a to calculate them by hand, so that you understand exactly what you're trying to accomplish when you're using one of the pre-built calculators. So starting with the kind of manual method with a regular calculator, I'll just use Windows Calculator on screen, going to a spreadsheet, and then going into like the web-based tools like Kirk McDonald, and then going into the mods. I wanna do some heavy feature sets on Hellmod, as well as Active Craft Time, and there might have been a third one that I wanted to try. We'll have to see kind of timing and how good the mod is for that. So there's that. We also have two series ongoing, one for Oxygen Not Included, and one for Kubi Factorium. So those will definitely keep going. They may take a little bit of priority here on my regular stream schedule as I work on the planning for the tutorial on production line calculation. And then I think I'll start the new Factorio modded series after that. So it'll be a little while before we're ready to before we get into another Factorio series, at least another Let's Play series. But I think the tutorial is important, and I think a lot of people will find it useful. Is that something that those of you in chat would find useful, as a tutorial on production line calculation? And then other games are in my future are Automa Chef. I think that comes out next week. This being Sunday, so this week being the week that's coming up. I think it's the week after. I think somewhere in the 20 something of July. So when that comes out, it might even be the following week. When that comes out, that's going to definitely be on my list to play on my streams. Um, and really, those are probably it for right now that I've looked at least as far as games go. Well, this is unfortunately producing a little bit slower than I was hoping. Both too fast and too slow for what I was hoping, because I was either hoping we'd be able to get this done tonight, or that I'd still have enough to do before, and then to be able to have this on stream and finish this up on Tuesday night stream. It's kind of in a weird spot at this point. Maybe it'll make sense to let the stream end here. Let me just produce as many of these modules as I can get produced between now and Tuesday, and then we turn this thing on and we let it go. The other thing I know what we could do. A couple things I forgot to module, and that is oil. We actually do need to module some parts of oil, I believe. I think I planned for. Let me see. Actually, no, I didn't. I did not need to module oil. I turned those all off. We have plenty of plastic being made. We only need 1.6 red belts. We're making 2. We only need 48, about 49 sulfuric acid per second. We're making way more than that. Down here, too far, Wally. Making 50 times 4. We're making 200 per second. So we're making 4 times as much sulfuric acid as we actually need. We're making plenty of solid fuel. We only need 0.6 red belts. We're probably making that in the recycling alone. Maybe not that much, but we're making quite a bit. Oh, we could talk about this here too. We did this a long time ago, probably in like episode 3. If you want to go back and watch the stream archives, you can. I do have them on Twitch still, but Twitch may delete them, so they're also available on YouTube. You do the command exclamation YT in chat, you'll see the YouTube channel. It's I don't have a friendly URL yet, so you have to suffer through with that. But I set up cell fuel manufacturing actually for all products, because I want to try and balance those products if they need to be balanced. But I don't start using those oil products to make solid fuel until they get nearly a full tank worth. And I do that because because I want the petroleum gas, for example, to go to making plastic and sulfuric acid, and only to make solid fuel if that tank happens to get basically full. And the same thing with heavy oil. It naturally goes unlimited to making lubricant. And then if there's enough lubricant, then it goes to making light oil. And if the light oil gets backed up, then it goes to making solid fuel once the heavy oil is basically full. And that's just to keep the tanks from one of the tanks filling up. Let me say that again. To keep one of the tanks from filling up and stopping the whole thing unnecessarily. So that's oil, and we don't need to module it, which is good because I had completely forgotten about it, and that would have been even more modules we needed. Looks like the modules are getting filled in pretty well. So I think what we'll do for this stream is we'll end it here. We'll resume on Tuesday at 9:30. Hopefully by then everything will be moduled, and then we can actually just watch the science get made and be kind of equal. Like, everything be running smoothly. That was kind of the goal for the end of the series. And then if that doesn't take very long, if we kind of get tired of watching that run, then I can jump into it could be Factorium or Oxygen not included, and we can switch games. So I appreciate everyone coming tonight. If you enjoyed my content, if you enjoyed this Factorio series, uh, give me a follow. That way you can get notifications for when I stream, at least when I go live, and then we'll see you again. Thanks for coming. I appreciate the raids tonight, Phasian and Wandable, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.